Hello, my dear church boys, and welcome back to St. Robert's Daygame Pickup Podcast. On this episode, I'm chatting with Mr. T about two sets. We talk about 4 different types of two sets you can have, 4 different structures of two sets you can have, and how to communicate in each of those to get the best results. Things like what do you do when a girl, you're in a set with a girl and her friend shows up, how to address that. We share our kind of best tips, tricks, stories from the past, things that have worked very good for us and things that have definitely not worked for us. We discussed some two sets that we've done together and went over, like, analyzed, which we hadn't done before, some two sets we did before, what things we did good, what things we did bad, what we each think, our different opinions about the same sets, what I think was good, what I think was bad, and again, what Mr. T thinks was good or was bad. This being said, before we get into the topic again, some housekeeping items. As you know, podcast and YouTube is like the mainstream stuff, like mainstream places where I publish for a casual listener, for like a weekly listener that just wants to get his weekly dose of day game chat and vibing and like all of that stuff. But for the real guys that want to get more kind of in-depth information, behind the scenes stuff, and get to know about things before they happen, or get to know about a lot of things that don't make it to the podcast or to the YouTube channel, the best thing to do that is to be on a mailing list or is to be on our Daygame Church group chat, where we have around 200 guys from all over the world. There are many things that don't make it to the podcast, many topics that are covered in a group chat or that I send out to the mailing list, and also things. One more reason to be on a mailing list and on a group chat is when I schedule Daygame trips, I do pre-bookings, which means people on a group chat get to sign up first, because in every city I have only 2 to 3 coaching spots. People in the group chat get to sign up first, then it's the mailing list, and only then it makes to that podcast. And right now, actually, I am doing some pre-bookings for coaching in Europe later this spring in April and May, but those are available for now only to the group chat and mailing list that will be made public in a week or 2. But if you don't travel right now, or you can't travel because of work or whatever, but you still want to work on your game and figure out why you kind of suck a little bit at day game and how to make it better, then a simple solution is just to sign up for a coaching call, which is what I do a lot. During these COVID times, with guys that can't travel, they send me recordings and we go over their recorded sets and what exactly are the things they should focus on, because usually there's like 1, 2, or 3 things that fixing them takes their game to the next level. So if you want to do that, just send me an email to robert@strobert.blog. With this being said, let's get down to the conversation with Mr. T about 3 sets.
Hello.
What's good?
Oh man, this city is loco.
How you mean?
Oh man, like did you see the story with that chick yesterday? On Instagram, I put up a story, like a chick sitting in a restaurant.
No, I did not. I think did I miss it? Can I still have a chance?
So I went out yesterday looking for razor blades, as I always do in a new city after flying.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking, looking for a barber shop to ask where I can buy some, I see this really beautiful chick in a white dress and black like rock and roll boots, some like hardcore boots, but like really feminine, really beautiful, great hair. And she walks out in a store, in like a pastry store, and I chicken out a little bit and I don't open, and I go to the barber shop and I come back and I see she's coming out of the store, and I saw definitely got open, man. So I opened her, and like she understands a little bit of English. She speaks like 10% English, maybe like 20%. Like just her English was like my Spanish pretty much, maybe a bit better.
Yeah.
And it ended with we do one venue, we do another venue, then we go to this crazy dive bar. And in a dive bar, like I'm fingering her at the table.
Right.
and I think like from menu one we knew how this was gonna end, and she said she has like some serious dude that she's dating. I think back home. She's from Peru, so back in Peru, but she says she has a weak spot for bad guys.
Well, there she goes.
It ended with as a very very beautiful same LA. So this city is like, this was like a LA where like I was speaking so much Spanish. I was surprised because I thought I knew less Spanish. Let's put it like that. But it was really fun.
Right.
It was great, man. So yeah, how you been?
You were
doing?
like tres tacos para llevar.
But yeah, but now it's like I can
just fucking with you.
I can chat now. So update the guys. How you been doing after Mexico, so that everyone who's listening knows. How's New York, or how is the afterglow still there, or is the afterglow frozen in the cold New York City?
What do you mean by afterglow?
Well, you know how when you take acid, you have that really nice afterglow, like a great feeling the next day, or like a few weeks. That's called afterglow. So I was thinking, do you have an afterglow after Mexico, or that's long gone?
From Mexico, so that'll be what, like the nice vibes and everything. I mean, I missed being over there. So those certain things I definitely missed. I wouldn't say there was an afterglow. It was just like, oh, I miss this. I definitely knew when I got back that it hit me hard. Oh yeah, I'm not in sunny Mexico anymore. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, I left Playa del Carmen because, well, first of all, after New Year's, it became like a gringo paradise. It's just like on the 5th and 10th, you see more foreigners than locals, and over the last few weeks, basically every second day in Facebook groups, you can read about stories. You can read stories how cops have robbed people, like solo tourists, so like travel tourists who are out at night. Yeah. It's like over the last few weeks, it's been crazy. Like, every other day, you can read a story. Basically, if you're solo, and if you're walking solo, and you shouldn't walk out like at night. Like, it's just not a smart idea. Whereas
except if you're a black man. No.
Because then you're invisible.
Yes, you are invisible.
Listen. If you're black and you close your eyes
and don't smile,
no one can see you.
No, I can see you for sure. No, actually, there's truth to that. To be honest, there is. But anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been good, and this city has been good. And I'll be here for a week or maybe more, and then head over to somewhere else. I don't know where. But well, today's topic for anyone listening is two sets. It's a topic that has been requested many times, and I'll definitely do some videos about two sets because there aren't a lot of videos explaining two sets, and I understand why. Because just as there aren't, guys ask very specific questions very many times, and those questions are, I recently got a question. So it would be interesting to see some content on how do you save really bad sets, like set that went terribly but then ended up as a LA, for example. So how do you do that? How do you save that? And whereas I see how guys are asking those questions, if anyone is creating content on a topic like that, he's just kind of lying to people, I think, because the thing about you can't, the way you save sets like that is you become really good at fundamentals of Daygame instead of just like learning fancy techniques and whatever. So one of the reasons why there isn't a lot of content on two sets, I think, at least quality content, is because two sets, I think you have to be really good at single sets, and then you kind of venture out into the world of two sets. And that's what I suggest students as well. I'll push students in two sets, and in a lot of the cases, I will actually not give them structure what to do in a two set. And two sets are less structured. You just go in there and you just learn to adapt instead of adapting to one person, which is like when you're good at Daygame, you learn to adapt really well. And in two sets, you learn to adapt to multiple people at the same time. So this topic hasn't been covered a lot. And I think we could have a chat and tell guys what our thoughts are.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to talk before about, hey, what are we going to talk about? Because usually, like, we have a list of topics we're going to talk about and questions we're going to cover. I wanted just to have, like, I basically wanted us to get on a call and just chat about two sets and see where that leads us, because I think those are some of the best conversations I sometimes have, is just like having a chat and then thinking, oh shit, I wish I recorded this.
Yeah, I have different ideas on two sets and why sometimes people don't do them and why there's not as much content on them. But yeah, we'll get to that stuff.
So why do you think people don't do two sets? Because a lot of students I have, even guys I coached before, and even now that they're decent, they still don't do two sets. So why do you think guys don't like two sets?
I think it's for the same reason guys rarely approach girls in a cafe. They're just not comfortable enough, and they think it's way too higher pressure than it really is.
Oh, really?
Honestly.
How is that?
Yeah.
How is that higher pressure than doing a regular set?
So for one, they feel like they need to engage both girls to the same degree. And I remember, I think I can recall back, I was like, hey, if I can only barely manage talking to one girl, how could I possibly manage talking to two at the same time? And the matter of the fact is, depending on the culture and where you are, sometimes you don't even need to bother too much talking to the second girl. Like, you need to be socially aware and like calibrated to acknowledge their existence, but there are times when you don't even need to go too much into that.
Yeah, this is definitely something I wanna cover in depth a bit later. So because I have very different approaches I've tried, and they have all worked very, very well. And so I want to chat a bit later with how you view this. Like, do you chat with one? Do you chat with both? Do you kind of flirt with both? Do you, like, whatever? There are like a bunch of ways to do this. I've experimented with two sets a lot since because I always had this idea that I want to have a same day threesome from a two set.
Set high goals.
And I've actually tried to do that. I had time in Prague where that basically was all I was trying to do. Yeah, but okay. So you think guys aren't doing it because it's a bit more of a kind of stressful thing? I think one big reason guys aren't doing two sets is because two sets are not structured. They kind of are, but they're way more fluid than a regular set. And so when you start day gaming, you start very, very structured, and you have to be pretty good to be able to. Can you say divert from the strategy, divert from your tactic, like from structure?
You can't be too rigid. That's all I can. Yeah, I guess what you're saying is you can't be too rigid. You can't be too.
Yeah. So when you learn to chat with one girl very well, what you'll do is you will start very, very structured, and then when you have like maybe 10 day game days, you'll start experimenting more, dropping the copy paste lines. This is like all that I spoke about on the Structured Natural video series. Is you start very structured, and then once you're up at like 8 lays, maybe you start dropping the structure and do what actually Daygame is all about, is just being an interesting dude chatting with chicks. And so two sets are like a whole new level. Once you learn to drop the copy paste stuff with one girl, then it's one thing, but then you have to do it with two girls at the same time, and it's just really unstructured, really, I think, hard to do. When I started out, because I remember you had the thing where you went to Boston to meet some guys that did some like social freedom stuff, and you did a lot of group sets, and you had a phase where like most of your sets were groups. And in the beginning, when I started, I don't think I did a lot of two sets. I did some, but it wasn't like my biggest thing. Whereas right now, I'll easily, like, if I'll see two hot chicks in Playa, I'll definitely like do a two set. I don't care like if they're hot. Like I'm going in. By the way, do you know? Did I tell you how they call hot girl in Playa del Carmen?
Chicas?
No,
No.
Argentinian.
Oh, right. Well, that's definitely sure. That's true. I can attest to that.
They are the biggest, the largest group of
Of
what do
hot
you call?
girls in
No,
Playa.
of immigrants.
In Playa,
Yes, Argentinians. Yeah, they like work in bars and beach clubs illegally, and they're incredibly hot.
they are crazy attractive.
So when did you start doing two sets, or yeah, what was your start with two sets?
I've always done two sets to some degree. In fact, what I would say is I stopped doing two sets for a while because of influence from other people. Like, oh no, I thought I needed someone to be there sometimes. But okay, let me organize this a bit better. I've been doing Daygame over 6 years. The first 2, 3 years I did do two sets as they showed up. Like I basically would engage. I didn't have as much luck with them, but I did learn a long time that I never needed a wing. In fact, most times if the person I was with didn't have their shit together, they would end up messing up my sets.
Oh
So
yes,
almost
yes,
always
yes.
I prefer to do two sets, group sets solo, because like
Yeah.
having some other dude, they just fuck up the vibe and they don't know what's going on, and it's just worse for me to have someone else there. So I do my multi sets with like solo because I have way better control over how I handle everything.
Yes, dude, 100%. I agree with this. So, because when I do a two set, unless I tell the other guy, hey, come wing me, I want him to stay out because I feel so much so much like two sets are so much in my comfort zone that I feel like I can understand very well what's going on, and then I can control what's going on. I can play with it. Whereas if another guy comes in, it's one more variable, and that variable is usually pretty like unpredictable sometimes. Just
Yeah.
because so for example, when you set up threesomes with another dude where you're double teaming a chick, it's actually pretty hard to do unless a chick is a yes girl, because both guys have to have a really good game. And what I do in what I've done in the cases when I've done it is I make sure that like follow my lead and kind of figure out what I'm doing, and they have to understand that if I freeze out a girl, like let's say I'm doing something, but we're like me and a dude and this chick, we're in an apartment and I'm doing something and the chick doesn't react well, she gives me an IOD. Well, if I freeze her out, but the other guy uh, so she will then go for attention to the other dude, right? And if he gives her attention, my freeze out didn't work.
Right.
So this is the important thing I think about two sets and why doing them solo is better, because you don't have that one more extra variable, one more extra guy, and it's harder to predict what an average day gamer will do than it is to predict what another chick will do. I think it's easier to do a three set than a two set with a wing. But maybe
It is, but
maybe let's start with this. Let's talk about like some rules of doing a two set with a wing, because even when we did like maybe like I remember one shitty two set that we did. No, we did more two sets
we did a few. We did
in Playa and in Tulum. We did some two sets. But I remember like the middle of the night, two Argentinians that was like a weird set that we opened. I didn't understand where to step in, and you have opinions about?
I have about that particular set. Honestly,
That was
I
a
had
shitty set.
opinions. I don't know. I think it was an okay set, but I know I recognized things that I think you didn't do, or you could have done better.
Of course.
But anyways.
Of course. So I think the first thing is who opens the set. So obviously whoever sees the set and decides to open is the main, is the kind of lead.
Yep.
But the thing is, so that's the easy question. But the other question, obviously the stop has to be even stronger. You have to be even more in front. You have to have your hands kind of wider. Give them even more distance and like even stronger presence so that they actually stop. But that's the small things. I don't want to basically focus on super small details, because that's just like, if you do it, you'll learn it and that's it. Otherwise, you're just going to give like a bunch of theory and people are going to dwell on theory instead of going out. But the question, I think important question, is when does the wing come in? And I usually say to the wing when he should come in. I'll say either come in 30 seconds, or I'll say when you see the hook point, come in. And you can see when like the conversation is starting to flow when they have hooked.
When they're relaxed.
Yeah. And then it's easy for the wing to come in. But the mistake I made in that set was I was standing in a way where it wasn't clear for you where exactly should you stand when you come in, because I open a set, so I get to chat with them a little bit. I get to figure out which one I like. I move closer to the one I like, and then the wing has to come
Engage
in.
the friend.
Yes, but the wing has to look at how we're all standing, and I will intentionally move somewhere to one side so that the guy sees, oh, there is an empty spot in this group of people, and that spot is for the wing. So the wing could come in and understand, oh, so this spot is right next to the friend, or like we can call the hot girl the target, and then the other one, like, I don't like the mystery used to call them obstacles. I don't like the term, but let's call the friend, the friend or whatever. So the wing comes in the empty spot, and that is definitely something I fucked up in that set. Because I was standing next to the chick that spoke. Yes, I even moved a bit to the wrong side, because I was one of them. The friend spoke English, whereas the target did not. So I was chatting to the friend, but it's fine chatting to the friend, but I still have to move towards the target and then engage the target, and that was the big mistake, and that's important.
Shall I say? So yes, this is how I saw it. You stood kind of in the middle of both of them, and I recognized that I needed to pick one, but the girl you were talking to was looking at me. The girl you were targeting was on the other side, and it seemed like you're trying to get to her. And I was so confused. I was like, okay, and of course the person who opens the set gets to close whichever girl they are. But at this point I'm like, okay, seems like you might go for the big nice boob girl. But this other girl right here,
the friend,
right, the friend, and she had like nice
not
boobies.
the target, yeah.
But the girl you were talking to was definitely giving me more eye contact, though responding to you. And at this point, like the whole set is like, okay, fuck, like positioning is completely fucked. I don't know who I'm gonna be talking to. I can't even start the flirting because I don't want to step on your toes. And that's basically one of the things that happened.
And then you were standing next to the target, and I was chatting with the friend.
No, I was I was next to the person who you didn't want.
I think we were like talking like diagonally, like with the chicks, and that's the problem. And it was and it's really so. Whenever, and I say this a lot, whenever you face a problem in your communication with a girl, don't try. It's not important how you solve the problem, but you have to think about what did you do before to end up in that stupid spot. And it's better to fix the problem one step before it happens in all the future times. And if we didn't fuck up the kind of like the positioning setup of the set, we wouldn't have the problem where we basically had to switch where our spots where we were standing to keep the set going. But that sometimes is weird. And in that set, I didn't think it's a good idea. So, but the important thing is, yes, like the guy who opens chooses the girl he likes and moves closer to her so that the wing can go in the free spot and chat with the friend.
Mm-hmm.
And the important nuance is if guys imagine two girls standing like next to each other and then two daygamers standing across them, the big thing that has to happen is those two guys each are talking to his girl, and then those guys have to kind of step aside a little bit, each to his side. Like, let's say if I'm standing on the right and you're on the left, I have to take one step to the right and you have to take one step to the left.
Do you have the girls not facing? You have to
Yes,
kind of
and
like
then
create some
and
kind
then
of
girls
balance.
have to turn a little bit, and the girls are with their backs towards each other.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you have two separate sets that are completely the girls are usually completely unaware of what's happening in other with their friend, and then it's really simple. The wing keeps talking as long as necessary, whatever. I mean, he's winging, he's obviously seducing the chick if he likes to.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who opened the set keeps going for as long as necessary. And when this is important spot that a lot of guys miss when they wing. When the guy who opened is closing the target, the wing has to either leave or close and leave. You cannot keep this, like the wing cannot keep his conversation going after the guy who opened has closed. That makes it really, really awkward. So the wing has to be aware of these things, like when should he eject, and the wing has to keep the set. That's why a lot of guys don't want to wing, because it's just like you wing and the girl just doesn't care about it. She doesn't want to have that conversation, but her friend is in a set having this nice conversation, but the wing still has to carry the conversation. He still has to do this. I mean, that's why you wing. That's your job as a wing, and if you wing, then that's what you're gonna do. If you don't want to wing, if you want to be the guy opening the set, then open the next two set. Don't be a pussy.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was one more thing with that set. I think you should have closed anyway, and
yes, 100%.
And you didn't, but I think you should have closed anyway. And also, you stopped them in front of a place that was playing loud music. And Beckham had to talk to them for a little while, and I would have just moved. I've been like, hey, it's noisy here, and like mini bounced them further down that road. So
I wouldn't have mini bounced. No, because they were barely hooked. They weren't even really hooked. They didn't really give a fuck. So a bounce would. I think a mini bounce is a risky move that like they can like use that to just leave.
True, but it was also super loud, extremely
yes,
loud. Like
again, fixing problems one step.
Don't
before.
Stop them there, right? Gotcha.
Yeah, don't stop them there. I think I stopped them there because I was walking behind them and they looked back and they kind of saw me approaching, and then it's like weird if you don't approach like 20 meters further. That's just weird. But yes, definitely pick the best spots to open. Especially, it's important with two sets because it is more complicated. But when you open two sets, a lot of things can happen. Like first of all, in many cases they respect it more. Like a strong open gets girls to react so much better. And when you open a two set with a strong stop, that is so ballsy that they just respect it so much and interest. And you will have cases where the friend is trying to fuck up the set and just, oh, let's just leave. But I think I haven't seen that happen too often. Maybe, like, definitely not as much as everyone is afraid that is going to happen.
I feel like that's mostly an American thing, to be honest.
Have you experienced that a lot in America?
Mostly in America. Everywhere else I don't.
But
like you and I.
No. It's a bit different question. So have you experienced that a lot in USA, or have you heard a lot of stories from guys about that in USA?
I have experienced it firsthand.
Okay. More than girls being okay with you opening a two set.
Wait, how do you mean?
So
wait,
if you
take one girl. Uh-huh.
Yes. If you take 100 two sets that you open in some city in USA, obviously really broad terms, in the cities where you Daygame in USA. So you take 100 hot two sets. And there's going to be a certain percentage where the friend is going to be okay with it and not fuck up the set, and there's going to be a certain percentage where the friend is being a cockblocker. So what I'm asking is, your bad experiences where the friend is trying to kind of get away.
Take the friend away.
Yes. So the percentages of the friend being supportive and being a cockblock. So I'm not asking the exact percentages, but like kind of the ratio thingies. Do you get more negative or positive reactions?
No, I will generally get either neutral or positive. But if I were to like break it down, I'd say like a third of those will be the friend trying to pull the other friend away.
And if you break down the rest, how much is neutral and how much is positive? Oh no. How much is neutral or positive? No. Neutral or positive, and how much is like they're just leaving and they don't give a fuck, like a blowout?
Oh, like for the two sets, like for the
one third is cockblock, and then how much is positive and neutral combined?
Oh wait, what percent? You say cock block is the friend is
trying to
jumping
leave,
in versus the friend stays
trying to pull the target away. So that's 1/3.
That's a third.
Yeah. So and what would be like the part of the sets where you just get blown out by a two set? If 1/3 is negative reactions, then blowouts are what?
So blowouts will only happen if the stop wasn't strong enough.
So basically 2/3 would be neutral or positive?
Yes.
So this is what I was trying to figure out, because when you said that you see these experiences, loud. That was loud. So when you said that you know a lot of situations where the friend will try to pull the target away, I was trying to figure out, is it like, do you get that 80% of the time or maybe like a third of the time? And what it shows is, so everyone is talking about how, the friend was being like a cock block and trying to pull the target away. Whereas you say, oh no, it's only 1/3 of the time, and the rest of the times it's either neutral or positive. So 2/3 of interactions are positive. That's very, very good. And I think the only reason why there are all those stories of friend pulling the target away is just because the Daygamer was bad.
Yeah, bad approach. That would probably be a bad approach, or like the creepy. I don't know, not creepy, but like just somehow the conversation isn't working. Like it's really not working.
Exactly. So all of these stereotypes about girls being bitchy and these friends being really bad in two sets, it's just because guys have bad game. And this is something that no one wants to hear and no one wants to acknowledge, but no one wants to acknowledge this, but guys, listen, I'm gonna as always, I'm always straight up, and if you've been daygaming for more than 6 months and you aren't getting laid regularly, there's a 90% chance that you're just doing something really, really wrong and your game is really bad. There are cases where even when coaching someone, it takes a bit for them to actually get to the level where it all clicks and makes sense. Yes, but those are very rare exceptions. But in general, if someone is daygaming for 6 months or more and isn't getting laid regularly, the chance of them succeeding in game without any help is like micro fucking scopic. That's it. I've said this so many times, and by the way, I never asked your opinion about this. How many, do you know many guys that have, because the guys I know, they either got good fast on their own, or they got coaching and got good, or they took a really, really, really long time to crack it on their own. So what's your experience? Because you hang out with a lot of daygamers in New York City. What's your view on this question? Maybe you think differently about this, and that's fine.
So the question is, guys who just took a really long time.
Yeah, have you met many guys?
I did. I met one.
Have you met many guys that struggled for, let's say, a year and then finally got really, really good at Daygame on their own?
Really good, no. Finally got laid, yes. Just one,
Finally got
only
laid.
one.
That's different. Finally got laid. That's different. That's like it can happen with it. It can happen to anyone. I mean, just as banging a tranny,
Like
which
got
hasn't
good.
happened to
No,
either of
not
us.
that I
But
know of. Not that I know of. And I think you have to keep in mind that there's a psychological consequence of doing day game, and the more negative feedback you get, the worse you will get. It's kind of like what is it, feeds on itself, that unless you have some kind of happy outlook on life, like just all those rejections and people like responding badly to, again, I mean, you wouldn't know this, but to bad game or lack of social calibration in one or another is definitely going to take its toll on someone. So it would be I would find it very difficult, or to find, I haven't met anyone that I would have gone on their own without seeing someone who was really good to learn from, or being helped along by someone that got really good just on their own.
yeah, and that's at the same time, the same guys are usually going out with other wings, and some of those wings are actually pretty good day gamers. I mean, those guys are going out with you and you're helping them, but still they keep struggling, and they think, oh, I'll go out with the wing and that will fucking fix my game. Well, it usually doesn't, unfortunately, and that's like
I generally avoid people who don't have, who are like terrible and will at least not, the stuff that you've seen me do. Like I do very incredibly, what is it? I guess bold approaches or whatever. And if I
your
can't hang out
game
with
is so
someone,
different from mine, man.
yeah. That's why Super Mario was like, if you hang out with me, like by the time you've seen a girl, I'm already there. But yeah, like usually unless I have someone who will be that ballsy, or like that kind of I can flow with in terms of the way I just get in there. Most of the time I just avoid those people, because they're gonna basically their energy is gonna rub off on me and slow me down, and I'm not gonna like, my game is gonna go to shit just because of this not very reinforcing personality around me. So I'll give tips when I can, but otherwise I'll just like do shit solo. Way
Yeah,
better for me.
yeah, we're both kind of the same, that we prefer to game on our own, and not maybe hang out with day gamers that are our friends regardless of day game. And it's interesting because when you hang out with other day gamers and they want to talk about game, like I don't want to talk about game because that's my work. But then when someone is like a friend that's become a friend that I met through day game, and I know they're not needy about talking about game, I want to talk about game with them. This is weird, but anyways, so let's get back to our topic of tree sets. And so all the bad kind of vibes online about, oh, blowouts from two sets, that's just got from guys that have really bad game, and that's why they get those stories. Actually, if you're good with single sets, then in most cases you'll be able to learn two sets pretty well as well. But when I coach someone, I will not push them in two sets until I see them being really solid in single sets. And for me, I think when coaching, that is important. Like maybe like in the third day, I'll start pushing them in three sets. And if you're doing more than 3 days, if you're doing 5 days, then maybe even later. Like if you're doing 3 days, I'll just push him in two sets, just so that he has done a two set a few times without expecting any results. But if you're working for like 4 or 5 days, then yes, we actually do two sets and try to actually get something out of them. So there are several ways you can approach two sets. You can you can you can only talk to the target while kind of ignoring the friend. You can talk to both of them. Uh, what else do we have?
Let's see. So you talk to both of them. You leave the tar. Yeah, those are only two. Yeah, the talk to
Basically,
one of them.
I
You
would
talk to both.
I would actually separate in three parts. I would say you can do a two set where you talk to the target and a friend. You can do a two set where you are talking to the you're kind of talking to the target, but engaging a friend a little bit, but it's clear that you're seducing the target. And then there is the third type where the friend understands what's going on, and the friend will step aside and completely let you do the set. And I love this. There are girls who will step aside and they will not try to interrupt or anything. They will just
Mhm.
stand there, mind their own business, and let me work my magic. And it's very beautiful of them. It's very nice of them. They're so
There's a
supportive.
fourth.
Fourth, which is that.
The girl, the half friend, will actually help you guys along.
Oh, do you have a story? It's like
That's happened to me a few times.
okay.
Where the girl's friend is like, so are you guys gonna exchange numbers or what? And I'm like, okay, I guess we need to do this now.
Yeah, but that's like, yeah, okay. But have you had them help even more, or just like push for the number
No, but
close?
they were definitely there's like where the friend can just be positive but not necessarily like try to actually get you guys together. But I've definitely been in sets where the friend was like eyeing her friend and like, yeah, you should like, I like this guy kind of thing, like where they were engaging in a way to like let their friend know, yeah, we know what's up, you should go with this guy, or you guys should eventually meet up.
Do you know how actually all of this worked out with Nadia? Do you know the story?
Yes, because yeah, eventually, yeah, she said that her friend told her, like, she was like, fuck it, I'm not going out with this guy again, and her friend was, come on, like, give the
Give
guy
him
a
another
chance.
chance. Yeah, so I'll tell the story so the guys know it. So when I was coaching David in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I saw this tool set with Nadia, the girl that I interviewed for the podcast, What Girls Think About Daygame. And I see this tool set, and I saved her as Nadia Mermaid because she was wearing a pink mermaid bra and was like blonde braided hair, and so I do this tool set, but they're like not really into it, and I don't know, they leave in like 2 minutes, but I still close, and then later I found out that the friend asked Nadia, "Hey, why were you like so like negative towards that guy? That was fucking awesome. Like he came to talk to you, and it was like really amazing. He was such a cool guy. Why did you was not so friendly? I mean, you should like he was really cool. You should go out with him." And so we text a little bit, and I think did she disappear? No, she didn't. No, that was another time. That was so
She didn't respond to you. You archived
she
her.
did respond. We go out on a date. On a date, I'm being like the biggest asshole of all times. I'm being homophobic, and like I'm not really homophobic. I'm not homophobic, but it was more of a we were talking about transgender people in Playa and how like I would be really angry if I pulled a chick and she would tell me she's transgender. I said I would kick her out, and then she asked, "What if you already had sex with her?" And then she said she had like all surgery, and you basically fucked the dude. And I said, "Oh yeah, well then that's a dude," and I would beat the shit out of him, which I think is fine because that's a dude. I mean, and you lied to me, and I fucked the dude because of you, so you get to be like punched in the face a few times, and like, and that's not a nice thing to say on a date. But then again, like lately, I don't really care that much, and I do whatever the fuck I feel like doing, which isn't what guys should do unless they have maybe like deacon level 30 lays or more. So anyway, she goes home and tells her friend this guy was a fucking douchebag. He like likes BDSM and like tying girls up and like spanking them and he's like a fucking transphobic. He's like stupid dude. I will never go out with him again. And her friend kinda is like, oh yeah, come on, like you're always like dissing guys, like you should give him another chance. And that's when she came out again. Her friend talked her into coming out with me going out with me one more time. Did she go out? No, she just joined on our party on a rooftop, I think. So
Yeah, you met
that's
her
a
again anyway.
yeah,
In the
yeah,
end,
and I think that's a great example of a friend helping out the target to get laid. Uh, so we have, I think, when the friend is helping, there isn't much to talk about that unless you think because I don't think there are any things you should do different in a set and that you should address. Do you think there is anything you should address in that set and
Yeah,
how you should play?
I think if the friend has got you covered, you don't, if you're trying to do like too much stack, like you don't need to do as much of the stacking here. I think you really need to get a bit, I generally will like not try to then like, I'll kind of skip a few steps ahead. I will still engage, try to like at least find out logistics, like find out a little bit about the girl. Because I would have already teased at this point, because it usually happens in the first few minutes. But at that point, if the friend is like, you guys exchange are you guys gonna like whatever? I'll exchange the numbers, chat for a little bit, then eventually get out. But I'll definitely not keep that going too long because um, I always feel like that extra push from the friend that she is receptive to has already for the most part set things up, and I should just take the number, set up the date, or set up logistics for the date if I can do it that day or later in the week, and then I just bid them farewell and wait for the date time, wait to meet for the date.
Yeah, I don't stack that much in two sets anyways. Like I'll do the first thing, like stupid angel devil thing or something.
Mhm.
Or I have a few other two set stacks that I use, but whatever, guys can come up with their own stacks. I mean, I did a whole new video on stacking, which by the way, I sent out an email to the mailing list, but for whatever reason, it didn't deliver too well. I didn't get it on both addresses that I have on the mailing list, like my emails. So there was some deliverability problem. So guys should definitely watch the stacking video. That's the best video I think I've ever made on YouTube for sure.
I have a question for you, by the way. So me, like when I was doing my trip around Eastern Europe, I always found that if I did two sets, the girls would be very chill. Like it's mostly like the neutral, either the neutral, or they are either neutral or they literally step away and let like the magic happen. And this happened to me in Poland. This has happened to us in Serbia. But I wasn't really sure. In Latvia, it didn't really happen as much. And I'm curious if that's you've noticed if for the two sets that across all the two sets you've done while in Riga, whether the girls do step off to the side and let the magic happen, or if you end up always engaging both.
That's your magic black black dude charm. I haven't seen it much in Eastern Europe in former Soviet Union. No,
Okay.
I would mostly have to chat with both of them there. Yeah,
But in
for the
Serbia, you
most part.
experienced it.
Dude, Serbia was like 1.5 years ago, so it was a long time ago. I was
Well, I
recently
remember, but
I
anyway.
was recently laughing about how like when I started traveling 1.5 years ago. And like I had Daygame in Riga a lot, and it was like really, really, really successful Daygame in Riga. And I had like been on Tom's podcast, and I've coached a few guys in Poland, and both times got laid there, and like the students did well there, and I'm like, and I have like this like okay, like I want to take this to the next level. I'll start traveling, and then like after being successful in countries that are fairly easy to Daygame. And I'm like, I'm gonna do my first foreign place for a month, and that's gonna be Serbia. And that was so stupid. That was so stupid, unbelievably stupid. Because like I went to one of the hardest places for day game, where I keep repeating that guys who have less than, I don't know, like 10, 20, 30 lays, at least even 20 is like tricky. Like, I don't think you should go to like 10. I don't think you should go to Serbia if you have like 10 day game lays. And get to the deacon level maybe and then like go to Serbia because you're just going to get your ass handed. And like, I do my first month to this crazy ass tough place, Serbia. And that was just not the smartest decision I've made I made some worse decisions, like going to Romania was probably my number one worst decision as a day gamer.
Yeah.
I would never go there again for day game ever again. But anyways, yeah, I didn't notice that too much in former Soviet Union countries at all. So wait, what were we talking about? We were talking about
We're
the
talking
friend
about the
being
four
helpful.
different stuff. It been. It was all about
Oh
like how
yeah, I
it's
don't
gonna go.
stacking in two sets. Stacking in two sets. So I don't stack much in two sets. I would do my angel devil opener, and then they would say who's the angel, who's the devil. Like I will tease them a little bit about that, but then I would simply go to like a comfort stack. I was like, oh, you guys must like work together or something. And I would go into like normal conversation basically. I wouldn't actually stack too much after the first two stacks. I would go into question mode. I don't even do third stack in a two set. I start chatting, and yeah, and then I kind of gauge what's happening in a set. How is the target reacting? I've actually never thought about this like too much in depth, but so now that we're talking, so I will look at how both of them are reacting, and if the target isn't reacting too well, I will I will talk to the friend in a way that's accusatory, if there is such a word, towards target. So I'll talk to the friend and tease her about the target and how she's like this and like that. So that's, if the target is not reacting well, I will chat to the friend. I hadn't thought about this before, but I think that's what I do in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Usually, if I mean, sometimes the target is, and I guess is a, right? I know we're using terms here, but these are people. Anyway,
target is fine. I think target is
no, because I was gonna be like,
respectable.
I was gonna be like, the friend can be an asset to you in the set during the set, whereby, yes, as you say, that if the target is not giving you much, you engage, you kind of go create your teasers through her friend. And from my point of view is, I will then like do, if I find that I'm not getting as much progress just talking to the girl I like, then I will make comments with her friend, such as to bring both of them in and kind of it's almost like I'm recruiting backup in a way, but by engaging the friend in the conversation a bit, so that I can get a little bit more momentum there. And I think this just comes down to the fact that there is no structure, and you have to kind of like problem solve in real time.
Yes, and that's the beauty. That's why I like it, man. I've grown a lot towards this shit. Especially, I've grown a lot towards, like yesterday when I was out with this chick from Peru, and like me not speaking too much Spanish, her not speaking too much English. It was so interesting to me. It was really, really interesting. I was just in like kind of dazed, not even dazed, I don't know, like intrigued by this adventure of seduction without too much language, and it was just really cool. So yes, and then so I would talk to the friend and tease about the target, and I would do that a bit, like maybe like a bit, but I still want to have a conversation with the target. And just as there is a point when you when you pull the trigger in going for the kiss or whatever, it's what I do in a case like that. I will talk to the friend a little bit, and there is a time when I'll pull the trigger and start talking to the target and see what's like, how she's reacting. I'll just like, okay, now I'm talking to the target, and like, what the fuck is going on? And if she still doesn't react too well, and I choose to go for the close, I will just go for the close and close the target, and that's it. Like,
yeah,
I don't think I would have like a 10-minute conversation where the target isn't engaging after a few minutes, but I would still go for the close. Yes.
But I want to add. I just remember there's a situation I ended up in. I was with David, and I approached two Argentinians, very, very attractive girls. They're gonna go shopping, and what happened is I started talking to one. The other just went into the shop, right, to like shop. She didn't. She like left her friend there in good hands. But because I was struggling with the Spanish, I just tried to quickly go for the close that I could use Google Translate. And when I was doing that, I was like, oh, like, can you and I should get a drink? And she seemed hesitant. So I was like, wait, do you and your friend always do everything together? Oh, she was, no, I need I'm always with my friend, right? And I was like, oh, so in my head, I'm like, fuck, I need to find someone else to join me, right? And so to close that, I was like, all right, I'll get you, and I'll have a friend for your friend. So what would you have done or said in that situation, or given that situation of you?
I would solve it one step before. I would pull out Google Translate and have the set with Google Translate, because when a girl would say, "Oh, I'm always with my friend," I would view it as like, I'm not that interested in this, because if she's interested, she's gonna go for the close. So yeah, I think I would do the Google Translate. I would do the set more, because Argentinians seemed extremely easy to close. like to number close. They would always go for the number close, but those numbers would be very flaky. So you still would have that. That's what I found in Mexico in general. Like closing was extremely easy, but if the set was shit, then well, all you got is a number, and you're not gonna fuck that number. You can like look at her Instagram and fap. But the biggest, which all of us have done.
I haven't.
For real?
Not. I don't fap off Instagram.
Yeah, you do. Like you record sets
like
and then you like make an audio collage or like montage.
Nah, man, ain't got no time
ASMR.
for that.
No, I'm just messing.
No,
but anyways, the big thing is never closing anyone with Instagram, and especially in Mexico, and because like in this part, the hot ones have like tens of thousands of followers, and it's just like why? It was one of the big mistakes was here for me, and it was definitely closing on Instagram, and I always close with number, and when I close with Instagram, I would just say, oh, I don't have data on my Instagram, add me on your Instagram. So I would make them add me. I wouldn't add them.
That never closing on Instagram came to bite me because I did try to make a girl was like, here, add me on Instagram. And I was like, no, like I'll add you on WhatsApp. And I kind of like pushed for the number only to find out that she actually wasn't on WhatsApp at all. And that I was like, fuck, I should have actually added on.
But you can text her or like iMessage.
No, because she had a Venezuelan number and we're in Mexico and she was not on WhatsApp. Like, so.
Well, that's different. That's a very specific case. But
yeah, I didn't know, but that's the thing. Like, I was too, like, when she was like, oh, add me on Instagram, I didn't really realize. I didn't know what the area codes for Mexico was, and it never registered. But that's how I showed myself. I feel like I showed myself.
I would be very cautious. So for you, I mean, it's different. But for guys listening, this is a big red flag. Not for you, but for them. Yeah. So from all the chicks that will want to not give you their number, and then they will want you to tag your Instagram, like 95% of them will want to do that to not give you their number, and then the 5% will do that because they don't have WhatsApp.
Yeah. I will qualify my statement by saying in New York, if someone asks for Instagram, it's basically a fuck you. Like that's a given. Like because in New York, like there are people who will do that. Like, oh, add me on Instagram. Like, nah. That's when I know it's like this is dead. Like.
And actually, what I do if they wouldn't go for the number and would want to go for Instagram, I would still go for the number. If they don't go for it, I'll say, okay, well, that's fine, bye, and I would leave. I don't even. I don't want to waste my fucking time. Like, and have end the conversation with like her choosing the way I close this. I will go approach another girl, and there's plenty of hot girls. There's no need to be enough like. If she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. That's completely fine. It means she's not interested in me. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with her. It's just sometimes girls don't like you, and that's fine. Sometimes you bang a chick and you don't want to see her again, and sometimes chick enjoys the conversation but doesn't want to give the number. That's completely normal. And I would just talk to another chick. So when getting back to the four possible forms how a two set can play out. So one was the friend is supportive. We kind of covered that. Then you open and then you see how they're both reacting. You're fluid because there's not a lot of the structure. And if the target isn't reacting well, you chat to the friend. Then you switch to the target. Then you still go for the close. There are cases where the friend will stay in the set, but she will not, like, it's clear that she's there and you kind of have to address her like once in a while, but you don't really have to chat with her too much. You can chat mostly to the target, and then once in a while ask something to the friend and Or like I would ask something like, so what do you both do for a living? Where I know that I'm interested in the answer that the target is giving, but I'm being polite towards the friend who's still in the part of the conversation, although she's respecting what's happening. She just didn't leave the set and didn't leave me alone with the target. What else do you do? What do you do if you see that the friend is still in a set, but she's supportive, she's nice? So how do you keep her? How do you keep not being a dick and completely ignoring her?
Oh, if she's supporting, if like
No,
she's
not.
just like neutral
No, not
or
supporting. She's like neutral. She's in a
you're right,
conversation. She's
she's just like
neutral.
neutral. Okay, yeah. What I do is I just do acknowledgement with my eyes. Like occasionally, like well, if I'm laughing at something, I will while I'm talking to target, I will kind of look her way just to like acknowledge that I recognize she's still there. Maybe tiny comment, but then go back to the target. It's just a matter of like, hey, I know you're there. I'm not completely in my head. What I'm thinking is that I'm trying to make sure that I'm acknowledging the other human being, even if they're not engaging just a little bit. Like if they're really not talking, I'm not going to try to bring them into the conversation, but I will acknowledge their presence. If they're being a bit active, like a little bit of participation, I will make shorter comments to them, but again, still focus mostly on the target. That's kind of how I do it. I don't necessarily feel like I always need to talk to them because if they're chill about it, there's no reason to try and bring someone into a conversation if they're comfortable enough, if they seem like they're comfortable enough just hanging out.
Yes, and I totally agree with that. And that's very simple. You chat with the target. You like, and that's you basically run a regular day game set while like kind of acknowledging that the friend is there and like including the friend once in a while when you ask a question about like the basic topics: work, hobbies, whatever, what are they up to right now, like all of the stuff. And you just, when you cover the topic, you include the friend a little bit, but you mainly focus on the target. You close just as a regular set. There's no fancy shit. It's completely standard. And so, and we have one more scenario left where they kind of, I don't know, how do we actually end up in situations where we have to talk to both of them? That's kind of weird when I think about it. Like,
Have to or choose to?
oh, no. Actually, there are sets where you open them. I remember the set in Prague where I opened two chicks, and whenever I asked something, they would both answer, and maybe they both would be interested in answering. And sometimes actually you have the case. Oh, we actually have one more option. Sometimes the friend wants to talk to you more and is like really into you, and the target isn't.
Oh yeah, there is that one. We forgot about that one. Whereby the person
Yeah.
you're targeting is not as interested in you as her friend.
So let's cover this a bit later. But there are cases when you open a tool set and they both are like answering and eager to kind of chat to you, and like they both seem on, not maybe on like sexually, but like socially they're definitely both on. So
Yeah.
what do you do in those cases?
I I will still focus on at least making sure that the target is very aware I'm trying to hit on her. Because that's the most important thing in my head. If I've made the mistake of just engaging both, but we're not spending enough time to kind of establish what's going on with a friend, or maybe dropping the ball, and then in the end, it just ended up turning into a friendly chat with two girls. So
How do you make it aware that you're flirting with the target?
I will. Oh fuck. Well, I mean, I'm giving the target more eye contact, and maybe if I was shaking her hands, I would have held her hand a bit longer. So those like either physical or a nonverbal body language to kind of push that along. I would be facing her more straight on, right? Like, and then her friend would be to the side. I wouldn't be in the middle, right? The positioning of where I am matters. How much eye contact I give her and what kind of eye contact I give her matters. And of course, with a friend, it would be more all that stuff. I wouldn't replicate the same kind of communication with a friend. With a friend, I would try to not push those kinds of signals.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And personally, oh my god, yeah. So the set in Prague that I was talking about, I had this period where I was experimenting with doing two sets where I like game both of them, and I say that we'll all three go for a drink. Yeah. Like I would say that we will all go for a drink one day, and I would close both of them, and I would like text. And I tried different. I tried setting up like group chats when I text both of them at the same time, and texting both of them at the same time, like as separate chats. And I tested all of that, but it never, so far, it never ended in a date.
Yeah.
But I'll keep doing that. I'll keep trying that, and because but one thing is I've never really, at least I can't remember a case where I've had good success when I took both of their contact details. Yeah.
And I have never taken both contact details because I'm not that greedy. No, I don't know. The vibe has never been. I've never had the kind of like if I would know if the vibe. Like I think somehow the conversation would have. I'd have had to steer the conversation in a way that that would have happened. But also, if that's the case, that I see that they're both down, then I would probably most likely just close the one girl who I feel the other girl follows, and then just do the stuff through her, like text and be like, okay, yeah, you know what, we're doing this. Is your friend coming? And it's like, yeah. So I'll let her handle that aspect instead of me or convincing her friend, instead of me trying to set it up but with them separate, and then be like, "Hey, your friend said she'll come," kind of thing. That's how I think I would do it. Given that what you've told me, I'd probably just have the girls sort it out. The times I've almost ended up in threesome situations, it was obviously that the other girl who convinced her friend. It wasn't me who convinced both of them.
And well, we had this the case where the friend is more interested than the target, and I think the solution is very easy. I would still push my frame. I would still maybe chat with the friend and tease about the target, and then kind of pull the trigger and try to switch completely towards the target. And if I close, I would simply close the target, and I would I know that she's interested more than the target, and it's obvious to everyone, but this is what I want, and this is what I go for, and I would, yeah. I don't think there is like a lot to even discuss there unless you have something to add.
I'd switch depending on how much interest it is, and if the friend is, if it seems like they'd be okay with it.
Well, obviously, if the friend is like decent looking, but imagine you have like a hot Argentinian and like an average Mexican.
No,
chick.
if it's not someone I would actually be into, no. But if it's like if both girls in the set are equally attractive,
No, of course, man. That's like you go in a set and you don't know who the target is, and you kind of see how they react, and then you adjust. That's definitely.
But if it's like someone that is I wouldn't want to be with, I just not go for it. I'd be like, well, I'm gonna close on closing, but if it doesn't work out, too bad.
And I think once you get decent at 2 sets, you can easily start doing like 3 sets and more sets, and you just kind of become very comfortable with them. I had this. I think most guys know, maybe like the followers who don't follow me that long don't know the story about the crazy 3 set from Riga from a few years ago, where I was with a wing who hates 2 sets, doesn't do 2 sets, and I was like, there were like 3 hot chicks walking, all of them hot, and was like, fuck this, I'm doing this 3 set. And I told the guy like 2 minutes in, when they're hooked, like walk in. And I do the 3 set, and the target is crazy shy. The target is this blonde chick with like long legs and everything. And so I close, but I find out during the conversation, I kind of talk who's the craziest one. And I close the craziest one, and that ends in a lay, and then it ends with like I had this really hot regular that I was dating for 2 years, and it ended with that regular and the crazy girl and me having a threesome. And then the peak of all of this, the pinnacle of all of this was the crazy chick and the blonde with the good legs from the same 3 set. Well, ended in a threesome. I ended up in a threesome with both of them, and that was like that was my pinnacle of 2 sets, 3 sets, whatever. It's like getting laid with two chicks from the same 3 set in a threesome, and that was like, that's just my three set moment of my bucket list. It's well, that was incredible. Unfortunately, I don't remember the threesome because like I
Oh
was honestly
my.
so shit faced that
What a
it's just
shame.
I remember some parts that it was just ballsy. Like I did so many ballsy, but like when you learn day game, you learn to pull the trigger and do these ballsy moves that seem so bold. Like did you use a lot the move that like the take her like put your hand on the dick? Did you use that move a lot where you just take her hand and put it on your dick over the jeans? Have you done that a lot?
Yeah, after a while I did. Yeah, there was a few times I did, and yeah, that was a lifesaver.
Yeah, but how was it when you did it for the first time? Like how scary was that,
Um,
man?
I don't think it was. I don't remember, man. I do not
Oh
remember
man, for
even
me
when it
that was
happened.
so scary. Oh my god. To me that seemed like this crazy move. That oh my god. But you get used to moves like that, and then you get to a level. You get to a ballsiness where you try to have threesomes from two sets. It's the beauty of
Yeah,
day game,
yeah.
man. But yeah, I've tried like all different types of shit, but I haven't yet managed to have like a same day late threesome from a two set. That's definitely something that I'm looking forwards to. I've had a case where I was day gaming with the wing. He opened the set. I kept walking. We were going for a beer, and right outside the beer menu, I opened the two set. And I'm like 5 minutes in, my friend joins, and we have this four set, and we go on a double I date, and we do one more venue, and we're like trying to set it up as a foursome. But I was tired, and I over escalated, and they just left at one moment. It's like I just
Um,
over escalated verbally.
you should tell guys about. You remember when we were on the beach at what was it? That fucking club in Playa, and how we were talking to mom, daughter, and we tried to get the
Oh
mom for.
yeah, man.
Though the
Yeah.
daughter had been eyeing me, I don't know if she had been eyeing you, but she'd been giving me a lot of
Yeah.
looks for a long time.
Yeah, we kind of
But
had our moment, like you said, she's eyeing me, and I'm thinking, yeah, she's eyeing me too. Fuck you.
but she
But
was underage, so we couldn't do shit. So we're like, all right,
yeah,
we'll
so
get
we
the
couldn't do
mom
shit.
instead.
I went to chat to her, and turns out she's like young as fuck, and I couldn't do anything. So and then when before we left, like, because you were with your chick, you were with your girl
Yeah,
there, and I was solo, and I
yeah.
was a bit intoxicated on with a bit wild visual experiences. And yeah, and then I pulled the mom aside at one moment and just closed, but that didn't really go anywhere.
No, you didn't. I just thought it
we've
was funny
definitely
because
me and you
you
we've
told
definitely
her, hey, Kevin and what did you say? Like Kevin was
I said, oh yeah, me and my friend we would like we want to go for a drink with you another time. And when texting, I was pretty like clear that it's both of us that are texting with her too.
yeah.
I was trying. I mean, we still have to set up that dating threesome that we're trying to do for way too long. But we had like we live in so far away from each other that we don't have like we had opportunities to do that only like when we were in Serbia and now in Mexico.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
The dumbest one of the also like the weird things that has happened from these sets was when I was in Budapest for a month and Mario was there as well.
Mhm.
It was because I coached him there, and we met with some guys, and we went to this fancy ass rooftop bar, and it's empty. It's like all, like people in their like I don't know like not the age of not the age group of girls we're shooting for. They were all like 40 plus. But there is this one table with like chicks that are having some fun, and one of them is hot, and we're going to the bathroom with Mario, and Mario just does like a drive-by hi when walking by the table. He just says hi, and those chicks are immediately oh hi, and they're like looking at him. But since he
And he
does just
just
a
goes.
drive-by and just goes to the bathroom, they're like left hanging, and I was like, what the fuck did you do, man? Like you see how they react, and we pay the bill and we're walking out, and they're kind of like waiting for like what is happening. But okay, they kind of chilled out like a few minutes later, and they're going about their business, and Mario is already leaving, and I'm like and it's me, Mario, another guy who's I think some sort of a pickup coach, but I didn't really talk with him much about all of this shit. So all guys like kind of have game, but no one is even like talking to the table or anything. It's like I don't know what was that. Like, it was like weird day gamers or like gamers, but no one's trying to bang the hot chicks. So, anyways, I go to the table, and I just like it's three chicks, and I go to the table. And I'm like, hey girls, like, I know this is really random, but you're like the most beautiful table at all the restaurant. I just had to say hi. Da 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 da. One of them is a hot Iranian dentist, and I'm chatting to her. And in the beginning, the other ones wanted to talk, but I was clear who's the target. But obviously, I'm engaging all of them. I'm like giving attention to everyone, but everyone kind of knows what's going on. And there is this one of the chicks at the table is sort of, what I call healthy girls. She wasn't even healthy. She was like a bit more than healthy. And she's like, oh, but where did your friend go? Where did your friend go? Where is he? Why didn't he go? He just said hi and left. What is that? So anyways, like I closed the target. I number closed the target, and then the healthy chick is like, oh, but where's your friend? I like your friend. No. Like, can you give him my number? So I take her number. I give the number to Mario, and Mario, being a good person he is, goes and does a charity lay. So that was a crazy. But the story is about the fact that I opened a table of three chicks. I went on a date with the hot Iranian dentist that led to nowhere, whereas Mario got laid with a chick that just saw him do a drive-by high and then leave the table. And it's like, damn, the shit that happens when you do like weird sets and when you open in ballsy situations in the middle of the restaurant, and it was just nice, and it's like a nice memory we share with Mario now, and everyone's happy about it. Yeah. And one thing that I wrote down we hadn't covered yet is what to do if you open one girl and you're having a set, and then a friend shows up. So how do you deal with these situations? Because I have my ways, but I'll let you start. Female friend. We're talking female
friend. Okay, female
Yes.
friend. Let's see. Well, like without me having like randomly friend shows up, like without her saying that, hey, my friend's gonna come up, so it's a surprise.
Let's say maybe she was waiting for like a friend. You're having a conversation, and then boom, another chick shows up, and like she's there.
Because the reason why I'm asking is because sometimes when the friend shows up, like, oh, my friend's here, and they're trying to eject.
No, like a friend shows up, whatever.
If the friend shows up, but the girl is actually interested, I will say hello to the friend. It depends on how far along in the set I am too. Like if I'm farther along in the set, I'll say hello to the friend, and then like wrap up. If it's the beginning of the set, I don't know. I haven't been in that situation too often, man. I think I would keep talking. To be honest, I would keep talking. Somehow, in some way, I would just continue the thing, acknowledge the friend, and kind of adjust depending on how the situations play out.
Yeah. I don't really look at how they react when the friend arrives. Personally, I don't pay too much attention to that. But I'll do as soon as the friend arrives and I understand that they're meeting, I would instantly tell the friend what's going on. I'll say, "Oh, that's your friend. Yeah, well, I just saw her standing here, and I just had to say she looked really beautiful, and I came to say hi." And yeah, and so I would literally, I would very directly tell what's going on. I'll basically in a nicer way, I'll say, "I'm chatting up with you. I'm kind of flirting with your friend here." Mm-hmm. And I'll still include her a little bit, but then most of the times I will wrap up the set, take the number of the target, and leave. But the weirdest thing that happened in one of the cases was, so in Riga a few years back when I started gaming, I opened this young chick, and she's into it. Like, we're having a nice conversation. She's a bit shy, but it starts raining, and we're 2 minutes from the mall. So I say, oh damn, it's raining. Let's just go to the mall real quick to chat a bit more. So, and she's meeting some friend or whatever in like a few minutes. So we go to the mall, and and she's reacting well, and that set is good, and her friend shows up, and turns up it's her boyfriend or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the chick is like, so the legal age in Riga, or the age of consent in Riga in Latvia, is 16. So that
Mm-hmm.
chick is 17, so it's like really young. And her boyfriend shows up, and I just say, oh damn, like I stopped you because I thought you look cute, and we had a nice chat, and you're pretty dope, but well, I'm not gonna take your details because, well, your boyfriend showed up. And
Mm-hmm.
she's just like, no, take my Facebook. She closes herself in front of her boyfriend. Uh, and yeah, we chatted a bit online, but it never turned into a date. But
Mm-hmm.
that was just like an interesting experience. And but honestly, the when you day game, like the more day game you do, the more weird shit happens to you. That's if you are able to, if your game is good, or like you're progressing fast, then that's all the crazy stuff that happens. Like, I mean, all the stories like the David had, when like the video I published on YouTube, that's about like David going from like a beginner to having 2 lays in one day, and like all the other
Oh yeah,
stories that we've
right,
had on the
right.
podcast, on podcasts. Like those stories are pretty crazy. And if you day game, and you are decent, or you're learning fast, and you're able to have longer conversation. Of course, if all of your conversations are 30 seconds long, there you're not going to have much fun, and you're not going to get like that much interesting experiences. But if you can run longer sets, oh my god, the weird experiences you will have, like with chicks, with boyfriends, and boyfriends showing up and them still giving the number, like all the threesomes, all the insane, like all those stories. I think most people, when they listen to these podcasts, because I was the same, I was listening to podcasts and I was like, oh, these stories are amazing. I would be so amazed when hearing those stories, until the moment where I got pretty decent and I started having stories of my own that are even crazier than anything I've heard any other day gamer have. Like, dude, I've had cases where a girl that I slept with sent her friend over to my place to have sex,
Yeah,
and
you
some
told me
weird
about
shit
that.
like that. And so when people hear these stories, they hear them, but they don't understand fully, deeply, that they can have the same stories. They don't associate with them. They don't, not associate. They don't identify with those stories. It's like reading a sci-fi. It's like watching a sci-fi movie. It's interesting, but it's fake. Like, not fake. It's
No, it's you're
interesting, but it's
detached
just,
from it. You're not in it. You don't see
yes,
it as something that would happen to you, and that's true.
yes,
Like until it happens to you, you really don't think it can happen to you. It's just how life is for most things.
yes, and that's incredible, because Mario here in Mexico, like that guy is like, he's like dating this chick. I don't know where she's from, but that guy is like trying to set up threesomes with her like all the time, and she's down for it. And they went to this island for a weekend, and they see this Asian chick, and they chat up with the Asian chick, and they offer her like to join them for like some fun, and the Asian chick didn't go for it, but they're trying to set up threesomes all the time. And
It's
if you
funny.
really, if you really decide that you can play around with day game just as most guys do, kind of dabble around. But if you really decide to pull the trigger, and put in the work, and do what you have to do what you know how you have to do, then you see how crazy these experiences become. I mean, just as I did the podcast with Paolo, where
Yep.
about the story how I'm sleeping and I hear behind the wall. It's like, oh yes, daddy, fuck me harder, daddy. And turns out like Paolo is like mid-40s, and like it was like, I think, the same delay with a 18-year-old chick in Portugal. And that guy, he didn't see that as like something too realistic before we met. But and I think that's the beauty of Daygame. You can hear those stories and not like identify with them. And then once you get good, you have them. You have those crazy stories yourself.
Yeah, but it's it just kind of happens. It's not like you go looking for a crazy story. It's not like, yeah, today I want to have this exact kind of crazy story, and then it's just shit happens, and you're like, oh, I have a story to tell. But
But
none of
sometimes you
that will
go out.
happen unless you talk to people. Sorry?
Sometimes you go out for a same delay.
I mean, yeah, because that's definitely that's something that is possible if the conditions. It's I don't know. it's like it's not like you went out being, hey, I'm gonna go approach a girl and maybe she'll send her friend over, right? Like that's a scenario that you have not too much control over. Like the
Yeah,
variables
no,
exist.
you know how I ended up with that story? It's actually pretty simple. I was after I had the threesome from a three set, I was thinking, okay, this was some crazy shit. What is some more fucked up shit I can do? And I just thought, well, if a friend sent over her friend just to have sex with me, then that would be amazing. And then I met this chick at a party, and I slept with her like a few days or a week later. And then I told it as a nice story of, like, this is like so crazy. I've done everything and I've experienced everything, and it's just, and I don't know, like, what else can a girl do to like, for that to be something crazy special, and something that, like, oh my god, like a new experience for me. I'm kind of setting this up as like, because she was crazy and it was okay to talk about stuff like that with her, but I'm setting up this thing is like, I've kind of done all of this shit, and nothing is that wild anymore, so I have no idea what the girl could do. And then I say, yeah, but I've always had this like weird. I thought that maybe like if she sent over her friend just for me to have sex, like that would be pretty fucking crazy. and she took the bite, because that was like a nice setup. I set it up in with this story, because I thought she would take a bite, and she took a bite, and I had this happen twice. Yeah, I had this happen twice where like a chick sends over her friend, but both times the friend was like, "You're gonna do it," and then you take a long shower and think, "Why did I do this?" Not
You or the friend?
me. Why
Oh,
did I do this?
interesting.
Like, why did I bang that friend?
Interesting.
Because they're usually not the hottest chicks in the world. But well, it was winter time and it was cold, and Daygame wasn't that easy.
Everybody's lonely.
Yeah.
But I
So
have
what?
to, before we go, I have to give Mario a shout out because I think he was entertaining some ladies on a date. I think with the same girl that he's traveling with right now. And like the friends, they were like, where can we find all the guys? And he was like, hey, I have a friend. He's not here. And they're like, let's see his Instagram. And like they check out my Insta. So I was like, huh. They're like, oh, if only. So
If
yeah, he
only.
tried to set me up. I just wasn't in the area.
Yeah,
But at
dude.
least he was thinking of.
Mario. If he keeps putting in the work, like he's getting there. He's getting. I think much better. Much more abundance gives a lot. So he's really grown in game. If he keeps putting in the work, then I see a lot of potential there, especially if he goes to places that are more interesting than Mexico. Mexico being like really easy to get laid from the game.
Argentina is a place to
At
go.
least, Playa del Carmen with all the expats and travelers there and all the crazy people. And as Tusk likes to say, they're there for a good time, not for a long time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he has a great potential. I hope he keeps putting in the good work, and we might have another Deacon in a year or a bit more.
Very soon.
So, dude, what's your next plan for the life and especially Daygame? What's the next? Unless you want to name some countries where I am going, which I would rather you didn't. What's your plan in general? When is your next Daygame trip?
I don't know. Whenever the I can travel again. Or I don't know if you send something my way and I can make it, I'll just take a spontaneous flight.
Well, I think you know where I'm going next. But
Well, for
we'll talk about
summer,
it
because there's a
later.
lot of places you're trying to go to.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But there, because the thing that happened that I've seen, and I was afraid of it, and now that you know, like guys that were guys that started working with me like 3 years ago, they were really like that. Let's call them early adapters. Like this new guy shows up on a block and they hire me for coaching. And then like the more content I put out, the more people started trusting me. But now that I've started putting out YouTube videos, even like, and for the last 1.5 months, I do weekly YouTube videos, and that has, even though like my YouTube following is incredibly small, the reactions I'm getting it's just wow, like really good. And But as my following grows, I have to be more and more aware of what consequences my publicity have on the cities I go to.
Oh,
And
right. Yep.
and Playa, with me being really like making the place as popular as possible, and Tusk doing like talking about Playa. And then we had like, I don't know, I met like 10 other day gamers maybe there.
Mhm.
So right now, for the next year, what I'll do is I don't want to talk too much about the cities I go to, just because like then a lot of guys go there, and I would prefer to have the city to me and a few friends. So what I will start doing is that guys in a group chat already know is I'll start to pre-book coaching cities, which means I will announce the coaching cities in the group chat first. Guys, give guys the opportunity in the group chat first, then in the mailing list, and only then make it public. But even when I make it public, the pre-booking, I'm not gonna tell publicly which cities I'm going to. And then when someone signs up, then I'll tell them like which places we're going to and when. And if I have, like, I can only work with 2 to 3 guys in a city, like in each city, depending on like 2 guys for 5 days and 3 guys for 3 days. And if I go to a city and I have it fully booked, I will not even publicly say where I'm going. I will only talk about it when I leave the place. And that's why I'm doing the pre-booking thing, because just I like 10 other day gamers in one city is I know I'm always happy to do this once a year, but where we like promote the city, promote the shit out of city, which we did with Serbia. Like so many amazing guys came there, like you came, Villa came there, like a bunch of other guys came there. It was amazing trip.
Many didn't come back.
And
Sorry,
and
I was.
and Playa del Carmen was the same. Like we wanted to this to be this like meetup where we meet the gang again after a long time, and it happened. It was just as amazing as Serbia. Once a year, it's really cool. But if every city you go to, you know that you will attract like 10 other guys, then I would rather keep it under the radar. And even the place I'm at right now, like when I put out the stories on Instagram, I don't tag the city I'm at. And in a group chat, Mario, like I told that I got like I pulled the Frank. I did the Frank, which is fingering real girl in public. So Mari, when I said that this crazy stuff happened, Mario said, "Oh, this city," and names the city. That's fucking crazy. And then I had to delete that because like it's a bit of yeah. So, anyways, what I'm saying is there are a lot of amazing locations I want to go to, but if guys want to go for coaching there, and they're really good cities. I'm not going to do a lot of cities this year in Europe, but they're really good cities. But I will try to pre-book them so that they're not that public. And when they go public, if I don't have them fully booked, when they go public, well, that's if they're not fully booked. And but we'll see how that goes out, and we will see each other probably this summer somewhere in Europe, or we'll see each other next autumn somewhere in Central or South America, because it doesn't seem like Biden is gonna send me an email saying, "Hey Rob, come over to New York City." So, Mr. T, give guys one last inspirational tip for today. What should they do today?
Always brush your teeth and floss regularly.
Yes, because hygiene is important, and if you look like shit, then girls don't want to bang you.
Very true. And they won't
Yes,
make out with you.
and you know what, guys, clip your toenails. It's like some guys are really lazy about it, and then I see them without shoes, like some decent day gamers, but they have like these like long, dirty, ugly, maybe not dirty, but like long toenails. That's just disgusting, guys. Like, keep yourself, be hot, be fuckable, and keep
your
smashing.
SMV up, as people
keep
say.
Keep your SMV up. Well, dude, this has been fun. This has been a bit of a different conversation because we didn't know what we were gonna exactly talk about, and that's, I think it was very. It was better. It was better this way, and that's what I'm gonna try to do on podcasts from now on. And podcasts in general, by the way, to those listening, podcasts from now on are gonna be more me talking to other people instead of me talking to myself. Because if I want to talk to myself, I can do that on YouTube videos, and that's more valuable. Well, guys, thank you for listening, Mr. T. Thank you for talking about two sets and helping the guys out.
Always.
That's what we do. I mean, we give out everything we know away for free. By the way, thanks for putting up that sticker in the barber shop with Saint Robert's podcast.
Yeah, that was in Starbucks actually on the board. But
even better. Nice. Well, okay, dude. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, I'll catch you, man.
Well, guys, now you see that there are different ways you can look at the two sets, and two sets are really more about learning to adapt in the moment instead of having a more structured approach to game. And that's why when you start daygaming, maybe still in the beginning focus on single sets, but once you're getting late, definitely you should 100% do two sets, group sets, and all of that stuff, because learning to adapt to new situations all the time takes your single sets to the next level. Once you can deal with the two set, your single sets, your regular sets will become so much better. If you liked the tips in this podcast and you think it was valuable, then give this, if you're watching this on YouTube, then give this video a thumbs up. But if you're listening to this on SpyTunes, or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then just please give this podcast a 5-star review. And just write what you think about it, because it simply helps me reach more guys and help more guys get better at game. And seriously, if you are listening to this podcast, fucking give that review, because it seriously helps me. Thank you. And if you have a wing who should learn more about two sets, then send him this video. And as always, if you want to get some Skype coaching or find out more about infield coaching, then send me an email to robert@saintrobert.blog. It is robert@strobert.blog. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening. Go out, have some fun, and have a good day.